Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of FLOPBUSTER. It's all about bat nipples, bat credit cards, and bat crotches on this week's episode.
Yes, we are. And with us today is we got the Joker, my cousin Adrian here. And he's going to be telling us why it's one of his favorite childhood movies of all time.
We're talking about Batman and Robin this week. Infamous movie. A lot of people hate it. Not many love it. In fact, I know one person who doesn't despise it. And we have him right here on the episode. Me and Gabe invited on Adrian to talk about the most despised Batman film ever made.
The franchise killer is what they dubbed it back in 97.
Yes. This is the movie that ruined many careers, sent Batman back into development hell for another 15 years until he was rebooted with Nolan. It's something. It's a movie.
Right.
It's definitely a movie. So I don't know.
The worst part is it ruined Alicia Silverstone's career.
She didn't do much after this.
No, it was like she did The Crush. She was in Clueless. Her star was rising. Batman and Robin, which would have made her like
the household
bigger.
Name.
Right. And then after that, nothing. Like she went into obscurity.
However, speaking on the good, it did raise George Clooney's career up because of him playing as Bruce Wayne. We got Danny Ocean, this multi-million con artist.
That's true. I mean, I love Danny Ocean. I love the Ocean's movies. But something has to be said that, George Clooney's he's sleepwalking in this movie. That's the only way to put it. He's sleepwalking.
I mean, I've heard rumors is that anytime somebody mentions Batman and Robin, I saw Batman and Robin, George Clooney gives you money. He's like, here's your money back.
I've heard this rumor. I've heard it's true. I heard that, I've heard so much that he's a cool guy and everything, but I swear to God, that's got to be the most true thing he's probably done.
If that was true, I would have been a millionaire. Because I freaking love this movie. Like, you have no idea how much I love it.
At first, I feel like it should work. Because I mentioned before the show to the guys, I love Batman anything. I love the comic books. I love the animated show. I love the 66 show and the movie.
The toys.
The games. So I love when it's lighthearted, like the Golden Age, Silver Age stuff. I'll eat that stuff up. So movie form, sure. We had Batman and Robin a year before, or Batman Forever a year before. My bad. So it would make sense that Warner Brothers goes, that made us a lot of money.
We did.
Let's go do it again. But the problem is they rush it into production and they go, wait, our Batman doesn't want to be Batman anymore. Val Kilmer did not like shooting Batman Forever.
And now you've devised a way to read men's minds.
So you have to get a new actor. Who do you get? The up-and-comer on the rise right off his hot TV show. And then
ER, and then Dusk Till
Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the chin. He's charismatic as all hell.
One of the stronger chins.
He's all chin in this movie. This is the way he's introduced. Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman. His chin just sticking out. You could just I feel like the whole movie should be called Chin and Robin.
The Crimson Chin.
The Crimson Chin. If they make an adaptation of that,
yeah.
No, but I mean, it makes sense that it would be George Clooney at that time period.
Right. I mean, there was no other hotter actor at the moment. I mean, I think all of the Batman, Robin, Batgirl,
right.
There were all hot actors at that time in 97.
Even Joker. Joker was, when they said, who do we cast as Joker? Jack Nicholson. For 10 years. There was no other actor in the running. It was Jack Nicholson.
Right.
So these movies were made for the specific time periods of, this person's hot right now. Let's cast them as so-and-so. Val Kilmer, Jim Carrey. They all made sense.
Yeah.
So we could jump right into the plot of it. All the backstory and stuff, there's so much to talk about because the movie caused a lot of drama. The making of the movie and what led up to the making of the movie caused a lot of drama. So let's jump into the beginning, and I'll let Gabe, introduce us to how this movie opens up, and we'll go from there. Well, let's just go complete nosedive into the story of Batman and Robin.
So we're introduced to Batman and Robin as they're, trying to fight crime. I would say.
It's just movie just starts.
Yep.
It just starts.
That's why I love it, because it starts so strong. It's like I feel like you're watching the ending of a movie. That's how it starts.
That's something
that big fight.
Yeah, but
that worked last time too, though, and forever it worked. The movie starts off, he's fighting Two-Face. You get no backstory to Two-Face other than something on a TV. He suits up and he's like, I'm gonna get drive-through, and then he goes to fight Two-Face, and then that's the start of the movie. Same hook with this too, though.
Right, it is, and there's a lot of family drama between him, and there's a lot of puns. A lot of hey. Dick. It's like, Are you just being sarcastic when you're calling him Dick, or are you just really, calling him by his name?
Grateful, Dick is ungrateful as shit. This 40-year-old, 17-year-old, Chris O'Donnell does not look like... I don't know how old he's supposed to be in this, but I assume like 17, 18, the character that is. And he just, I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
Yeah, but he has a motorcycle. I'm sorry. I'd rather have a motorcycle
He's
than a
got
car.
like 7 motorcycles.
Right.
So the movie starts off and we have this pretty big bombastic fight.
Oh yeah,
all the classic Joel Schumacher stuff.
Right, the neon lights. I think what really worked in this movie is, and one of my favorite things is the gothicness of Gotham, the gothic buildings, but then you have the like the neon lights,
the Art Deco sort of feel.
Right.
They took that off from Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really works well in this movie. I'm a sucker for neon lights.
No, I love that stuff. And I think the opening battle, it is fun because it's like the 60s show. They clank their feet together and they got ice blades and they're playing hockey with a diamond that freeze needs.
Did you see the Flintstone homage?
Wasn't there a Flintstone sound effect in the movie?
There was, and you guys remember he freezes a dinosaur and he rides a dinosaur.
Yeah.
There's like the Flintstones intro.
Yeah, Fred does that.
Yeah.
So we get this big fight. It
what
establishes
killed the dinosaurs?
Oh yeah, the Ice Age. Oh yeah, ice.
So it establishes the dynamic early on. Batman and Robin are kind of at odds. Somehow references that Superman exists in this universe. Just a random throwaway line. So Superman exists. Who knows where he is while the world's freezing? He's in this universe.
He is.
So we have this big fight scene and establishes our new Batman and Robin, Chris O'Donnell. We see
the 40-year-old man.
40-year-old man playing a 20-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever. His ward.
Well, didn't you say that he according to his story in this movie, he's just getting out of high school, or he's in high school, and then you said that there's a sequel coming out, and he's out of high school or something?
Yeah, so a quick sidetrack is, so I don't know the exact timeline. We know in Forever his parents get killed. He had a brother. I'm pretty sure he had a brother too in Forever, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was his parents and his older brother that get killed, which is, he didn't have an older brother in the comics as far as I know. So they get killed and whatnot, and I don't know if he's in high school at that point in Forever. They don't really say. They just say he's young, and Bruce Wayne takes him in. I don't know, he adopts this fucking 30-year-old man. Right. So in this movie, they're at odds. In the sequel, apparently, Dick was supposed to be in college, and the sequel is going to deal with Scarecrow, possibly Jeff Goldblum is Scarecrow, and Man-Bat. And it was going to be in tone of the Burton movies. So they're going to bring back Jack Nicholson as a fear toxin apparition, and Harley Quinn and stuff. So that would have given us how old Robin is, but at this point, we don't know how old he is. We'll just assume that he's a teenager, because the classic Robin character is
I just assumed he was in his 20s, is what I assumed.
Well,
this dude just got nothing going on. He's just hanging out with George Clooney in their bat nipple costumes, their homoerotic costumes.
Well, come on, the whole movie was nothing but homoerotica.
Well, and
you get the close up of the nipples, the ass, and the nice crotch.
Movie starts off that way.
Yes.
In Forever, we had that, but I guess it wasn't as so much in the forefront.
Yeah.
It's wow, this is badass. They're starting off the movie, and then sequel, it's just all right, Joel, you got Joel Schumacher, you got $200 million, and then he just goes, okay, I want I want more crotch shots. I want more butt shots. He's like, I want everything. He's like, I like all of it. Give me all of it. So we have these extreme close-ups of just Batman's dick, Batman's chest, nipples. It's just even Mr. Freeze, he got nipples.
Yes, he has. I did not notice until he pointed it out today. While I came by, and he's like, "Hey, did you know Mr. Freeze has nipples too?" I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's the 90s. Everybody had nipples.
Well, especially it was like a lot of stuff was sexualized, but
Yeah. Well, sorry to cut you off, but my point is this, to the whole controversial thing about the Lola Bunny and stuff, like sexy Lola Bunny, I was trying to explain to my brother that back in our generation in the 90s, sex sells. And maybe that's why, the nipples,
a lot
the
of
crotch.
the kids are going to be like, you know what? I really want to have sex with Batman. I really want to bang Batman. Batman's looking
But
really
see,
good.
I don't think you needed to do that in the movie because people just wanted to have sex with Batman since for the comic books.
No, it's true.
You know?
I mean, in the sequel before this, Nicole Kidman, her whole plot line in Forever is that she wants to bang Batman.
Yeah.
She keeps saying, I'm going to diagnose him. No, you want to bang him, man. Like, you just keep saying other ways that you want to have sex with Batman.
Which is funny, right? Is if you look at all the movies up until this movie, every single love interest Batman has had, you really get to know the woman.
Right.
You know, like you get to know Catwoman. You get to know
Catwoman, Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale, but all of a sudden there's this love interest.
She's so random.
Yes!
So random.
She just came out of nowhere. It's awesome.
She's like, are you going to marry me, Bruce? What? Like, we met you for like 2 seconds.
Are we getting married yet?
You-
Bruce,
you-
when are you gonna get married?
You know what's funny? It's kind of playing like a pun or something like that with George Clooney being this playboy upcoming star because he refused to get married for the longest time.
Maybe, but
Maybe
so maybe it's
yeah.
But nobody really knew about George Clooney's love life
Right.
back in '97.
They just wanted to see Batman kick some ass.
Right.
And instead, you got this.
I mean, he's 2 years into like ER, which is like the hit show that he was on at the time. Like nobody really knew about George Clooney.
But in the timeline of Batman, you're like, okay, he's seasoned, he's been around and stuff. And just like, George plays him so weird in this. And it's just like, I don't know what he's doing. That's what I say. Is he sleepwalking in this movie?
He's
like,
on Ambien.
I think he agreed to do the movie and then gave it his all. Maybe the beginning of the movie, the opening scenes,
Maybe
and then
he was
realized the screenplay really was bad.
It's bad. And what makes it, I mean, the guy that wrote this isn't the best screenwriter. Aviva Goldman has written a lot of stinkers in terms of blockbuster. But I wonder what if Clooney was told he was making another movie and then he's like, oh, this isn't what we were gonna make. I'm not gonna act like I care about this. Because he doesn't come off like a guy that shit talks Batman. He just shit talks specifically this movie.
Right. I mean, and for the most part, I feel like a lot of these superhero actors, they end up bad-mouthing the movies, whether it be because they were uncomfortable in the suit,
right?
Whether it's the way that the character was portrayed, but like Ryan Reynolds in Green Lantern, he just bad-mouths that movie all the time. We got George Clooney with this Batman. Val Kilmer also has bad-mouth, playing Batman. People that done Superman as well. Mm-hmm. I just think the suit's uncomfortable, and then they don't really want to wear it anymore.
I mean, come on. Let's be honest. You're going to wear a freaking leather latex suit
for 10 hours a day.
Yeah, 10, 12 hours. Even more, probably.
Michelle Pfeiffer had it worse. Michelle Pfeiffer talks about Batman Returns, and she said it was painful because they had to squeeze her head into that little... That latex suit is looking like a bodysuit because it accentuates her full figure.
Right.
Her head's super tight. It's leather. And she said, you can't breathe in there at all.
You know who lucked out? The chick who played Mystique in the X-Men. She was naked.
They just painted her.
Oh, my God.
Well, which brings up a point for Batman and Robin is Alicia Silverstone was supposed to have a bigger role in this movie.
You remember you saying that, yeah.
So because she gained a few pounds from Clueless to this movie, they cut out basically all of her scenes. What you see of her in her Batgirl suit is just basically in the modified version of her suit because they had to make it a little bit bigger for her. Wow. So the media at that time, it was at the beginning of the internet, all the message boards and the media
AOL
were fat shaming her. And you know, the producer had to come out and be like, "Hey, you're fat shaming a teenage girl, because she was
young.
She was 17.
Yeah,
Jesus.
She was 7. By the time the movie came out, she was 19. But when they started filming and not doing all that, she was like 17.
Yeah, she's pretty young.
She was really young, and so you're fat shaming a teenage girl about her body, you know, because you're saying she's fat.
Well, at least Silverstone looks way in better shape than most people do.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
so
if you had Poison Ivy, who was played by Uma Thurman, which we haven't even gotten into.
We haven't gotten to yet.
But if you put up Uma Thurman and Alicia Silverstone, like, give me Alicia Silverstone.
Oh yeah.
In that back.
Well, she's so good. She's charismatic.
You know, back in the 90s, like what you mentioned, Hollywood fat. What's the definition of Hollywood fat? You know, you probably have a little bit TNA. You know what I mean? But in this day of age now, this era, you know, people wouldn't be body shaming her.
No,
she'll be praised. Yeah.
But either way, I don't think anybody would have noticed or cared that much. I mean, especially now, if the studio would have saw that, they'd be like, okay, just like make the costume more breathable or whatever it was. That you can't tell on film. Nobody knows. I mean, they make Tom Cruise look like he's 6'1". That dude's my height, right? So
yeah. I mean, and then they did the close-up shots of Batgirl suiting up, and I mean, I didn't see nothing wrong with none of those close-up shots. I mean, I think I sent you guys a picture. I had like
the crotch,
the bat toe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the bat toe. Can we please add that as a B-roll?
We should, because it's an important moment in cinema. Batgirl is probably the first female superhero in film.
It's probably.
Oh, I guess there was Supergirl the movie.
But then you know what I also noticed about this movie is they took a lot of liberties with backstory.
They did.
You know, so for example, since we're on the Batgirl, she was never
Alfred's niece.
Right.
Like, I don't know who decided to be like, hey, that's going to be Alfred's niece.
But at that point, would they have gone, oh, this is Commissioner Gordon's daughter? Because in these movies, Commissioner Gordon is a bumbling old man. Yeah. He's a dumbass. He's just like, bat signal.
Like
that's
a grumpy old man.
Yeah, that's all he does in these movies.
Grumpy old man from the 50s.
He wasn't the best Commissioner Gordon. And he's the only one that made appearances in all 4 movies.
All 4. Well, Michael... I forget the last name. Who plays Alfred?
Oh, the guy that was...
Yeah. Yep. They're both the only actors that make all appearances in all 4. So I guess we could jump into Poison Ivy.
And Bane.
And Mr. Freeze, for the most part. We haven't touched on any of them.
I have an issue with Bane.
Yes, please.
Now, you people out there on YouTube or whatever could correct me. But Bane, from what I understand, has always been Mexican or Hispanic.
Yes. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he was wearing the luchador mask.
Oh yeah, that's sad. You're right.
So again, when we're saying they took a lot of liberties with backstories, Bane never had a first name. Mm-hmm. They gave him a first name in this movie and a last name, so they made him into a wimpy little person.
He's just some dude that they're running experience.
Right, and then that's Bane. I was like, no, that's not Bane.
The way how they killed him is the stupidest way ever, though.
You know, reading comic books, it's just in the comic book, Bane's a big deal because he comes along and he's like the Moriarty to Batman.
Right.
He's his intellectual equal. He's also bigger and stronger than him.
Right.
He whoops his ass in the comic books. In The Dark Knight Rises, he beats him up
physically and mentally.
So like that's why I like this Bane. I know that there's a lot of issues with this Bane. But I like it because they kept him as a Hispanic character.
Right.
My issue was, like, for example, I know everybody loves the Bane from, like, the Nolan series. Mm-hmm. But he's not Hispanic. He's white. I have an issue with that. You're going to cancel out my Mexican Bane for a white Bane?
I think he might be Israeli in that.
Oh, whatever.
Because of Talia al Ghul or wherever they were.
Right, but... I don't know. That was my only issue with the newer Batmans, but like I said, I like how Batman and Robin kept Bane in his roots as a Hispanic character.
But my issue with this Bane is the way how they killed him, though. I mean, he's just like big, strong guy, very, very strong guy.
I think there was
and like he looked unstoppable. He was breaking through walls, you know, like manhandling all these people. He grabs Batwoman or Batgirl and Robin against the walls, and then Batgirl just kicks the damn tube.
Yeah, she just kicks the tube off.
And he's dead.
But see, Bane was more. I think Bane was more an afterthought because Batman had been fighting 2 to 3 villains each movie,
Right.
And so they had Mr. Freeze and Arnold Schwarzenegger actually had top billing in this movie. So he was gonna. He has top billing over Batman. Mr. Freeze has top billing over Batman. Anyways, so that they were gonna give a lot of screen time to
Arnold Schwarzenegger
and Mr. Freeze. And then Uma Thurman makes billing. So Poison Ivy is going to have a lot of screen time. So then who's the third? Bane. And so he was like an afterthought for this.
And I mean, it just comes off like, okay, well, who's going to bring Poison Ivy everywhere? Because she's got to be intimidating but sexy and stuff. Like, okay, just give her Bane, and he's wearing like fedoras and like a duster, like he's the Thing in the Fantastic Four or some shit. Another thing about Bane that I thought was so weird is that to me he comes off like somebody that would hang out in like a BDSM club or something, or that guy from Clerks 2, Kinky Kelly, the sexy stuff, just like make him Bane.
Well, I guess since he was into Poison Ivy, he's into interspecies erotica.
Interspecies erotica.
Yes.
So maybe this is the backstory to Kinky Kelly.
It is, because I read that they don't really make it as pronounced in the movie, but reading reviews and stuff like that, is they did say that Poison Ivy and Bane were together. They were like a couple, which I don't know how that would work, but okay.
We were talking about like how would you like bang her? Like I was thinking like her privates be like a Venus flytrap, just like you insert him. But I'm just thinking out loud. Sorry.
I feel like you would die. You would literally die. Gruesome death.
You know what's funny? At the end of the movie, Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy are cellmates, and I'm like, man, that's got to be the best thing ever.
No, as bad as Mr. Freeze is, he is very loyal to his wife.
He is throughout every iteration.
Movie, every iteration. And to be honest, I don't really see Mr. Freeze as the bad guy. Everything that he was doing
is for his wife.
It's for his wife. It's for the cure of McGregor's disease. He doesn't really care about anything else except curing his wife. So at the end, he's a family man who wanted his wife to live.
At the end, he told Poison Ivy, "You belong to the streets." Seriously. No, I mean, one thing I didn't notice, and I always thought this as a kid too. So if Alfred and Barbara are related, and she's in boarding school from London or wherever, why doesn't she have a British accent?
Oh yeah,
Could they just go like did she just Alicia Silverstone maybe like not know how to do a good British accent? She's like, I'm not doing that.
She's 17, remember? Who's in a British accent? I mean,
Spice Girls were really popular at the time.
Nope. 99.
Well, in the U.S., but in England,
I don't think this movie's smart enough to have thought that through. I think worth giving it like, oh, why didn't they do that? This movie's just not smart enough to do that.
No.
And they admitted that they rushed the script through production. So, sure, yeah, there's some...
it's a rush job. But because at the end of the day, the movie did do money, though. It made over $214 million.
And it's still a disappointment to Warner Brothers. Because the movie cost $160 million, made about $240-ish.
Right.
But they would have needed $300 million for that movie to be greenlit a sequel. It's taken marketing.
Yeah.
Which, how much... with McDonald's and all that stuff that Taco Bell, which you see in the movie.
Bell, yeah.
Well, I think it probably made it because the movie seems like one big toy ad, though.
No, it doesn't. Who knows how much they made off toys?
Right. It was like you could basically. I remember going to, Walmart or Venture. Back in the day. And then going down the toy aisle, and you would see the Mr. Freeze vehicle with the spikes that shot out. You could buy that car. You could buy the Batmobile. You could buy the utility belt. You could get all the costumes. So it must have made money off the merchandising. Because everything basically you see in the movie, you could have bought.
No, right down to the point where Poison Ivy says a comment like, "Oh, you won't be able to get me a loan as an action figure. I come with Bane," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she hits something on his chest, and then he gets supercharged.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's an action figure. Like, you press a button on an action figure, and lights come up.
It was. I remember that toy. I actually wanted it. It was Bane. It had like the thing on the chest. You pressed it, and all like the tubes in the back, they would like light up, and they would like cycle over. Like you had like juices flowing in the back of them.
Yeah, so this movie, I mean, last time, there's a lot that went into it. Like we said, these movies started off with Tim Burton. A lot of care went into them because at that time period, people really wanted a good Batman movie. Batman Returns came out, and it freaked out a lot of kids. A lot of parents were upset. They petitioned, and especially because McDonald's got involved, they're like, you can't give these toys about this movie to kids. And then Warner Brothers got freaked out. And they're like, okay, well, the next one will make it super light in tone. That worked. So they go, okay, well, the next one, we're going to make it even more lighter in tone, to the point that it's just one giant commercial.
Right.
So that's what they did.
So basically, everything goes back to kids ruin everything.
So back to that whole cancel culture thing. You know what I mean? Like this was stronger back in the day, you know, and this was without the internet or social media.
This was
or
just a bunch
cell
of
phones.
Karens that got together
that's
and
nuts.
said, we don't want this to be our Batman.
Angry letters, man.
Angry letters.
Angry letters.
The power of angry letters.
You do not, like, hey, if a mom says she's getting a pen and paper, like, you don't want to be there.
Like,
if you got a Happy Meal with a penguin, like, you'd be mad.
Or Catwoman. I mean, like, Catwoman's
Sexy,
all up on
sex
screen,
woman.
flaunting her pussy juices all over Batman, trying to bang him throughout the movie. Literally, she licks herself.
Yeah.
So I guess you wouldn't want that in the kid's toy. It's
You
super
think
sexualized
Catwoman
and
could, like,
violent
lick
thing.
herself?
Probably.
You know, but I mean, what would you rather have? Like, what would you? Let me rephrase that. What would you rather be scared of? A written angry letter, or an angry email? That's
I
the
feel like
power of the angry
a letter,
letter.
because somebody had the patience to write it to you. I mean, typing out an email takes 30 seconds. A letter, like, you're sitting there with your inner thoughts, like madmen write letters.
Pay for the stamp, the
yeah,
postage.
you pay for the stamp. Like, you take the time to go to the post
The letters were
office.
probably even classier because, you know, back then they did handwriting.
Yeah,
They
and
cursive.
signed.
They did the
They
cursive.
signed the name.
Dear Warner Brothers,
And cursive.
I did
Love
not appreciate
Karen.
when I took my daughter, who, by the way, is 5, to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal and found a Michelle Pfeiffer action figure inside her Happy Meal. So, like, I could imagine back then they got a lot of
And then
those
there was
letters.
another one said, Dear Warner Brothers, I do not appreciate watching Batman and Robin and having a close-up of Alicia Silverstone's bat toe.
Bad toe.
Mighty Moose Knuckle.
Yeah,
The Bat Knuckle.
the bat knuckle.
we don't get enough shots of that. That's something I appreciate about these movies. I will say that, you know, Joel Schumacher, I don't think these movies are his fault at all, because he's even said if he was given the chance, he wanted to do Dark Batman. And he's even lobbied for it. They just asked him to make a toy commercial, and that's what he did.
I mean, we go back into Warner Brothers, and we've said this in previous shows before. Warner Brothers really has messed up a lot of movies.
A lot of movies.
You know, they always have to have some sort of input, something that they don't like, and then they change things up, and then the movie's ruined.
Let me ask you a question. What broke the barrier of, you know, instead of saying screw the campy stuff, screw the merchandise and the toys, let's start maturing these movies? Like, what broke that barrier?
Well, they did that with the Keaton Batman, and then they got scared of that. And they said, well, we tried it, and people are upset. So then they do these movies, and then they said, we don't know what to do with Batman.
So it's like the rise and fall. So then what was a rise again, though?
Fun fact, the rise of it, I've mentioned this before in, like, private with you guys, is that a long time ago, right before Batman Begins, they tried making Batman Year One, which is a graphic novel they made into an animated movie. It's R-rated Batman, and it's Batman's first year, and it's told from 2 perspectives, him and Jim Gordon. They're both young, and they're taking on the mob, and it's about them forming a friendship. So think Batman by way of Taxi Driver.
Oh, man.
So Batman Year One was being made into a movie. Joaquin Phoenix was tagged to play Batman, or I believe another actor was. They talked about even young Ben Affleck, but Joaquin Phoenix was apparently going to be the choice for Batman, Bruce Wayne.
How ironic, though. He got picked to play the Joker.
And in this pitch for this movie, it was going to be rated R. Batman was bare bones. So when his parents get killed, he doesn't go back to Wayne Manor. He lives on the streets. And he's taken in by a garage mechanic named Big Al. So that's Alfred. It's this black guy. It was going to be like a Forrest
That's
Whitaker.
awesome.
Who takes him in, and Bruce Wayne was very smart. He doesn't go to school. He just learns with this guy. He starts reading books about chemistry and how to fight. and Catwoman is a dominatrix, like a former
Oh my
prostitute.
gosh.
So the mob and the police department were in cohorts with each other, and they were super brutal and violent. And Batman's brutal as hell. Like, the gloves are made of, like, razor blades.
Right.
He had, like, smoke bombs. His teeth got punched out so many times. He wears a grill to cover his teeth. It was supposed to be R-rated, violent, and scary. And then they got scared of that again, and they said, okay, well, we'll make Batman Begins. And then that's the story of where we have Batman now. That's this huge icon, the Nolan Trilogy.
Wow.
So, yeah, Batman's been through a whole thing of roller coasters. We've gone from lighthearted to kind of dark and fun, and then straight up campy, and then we almost had something that was super violent and R-rated, which I think could have been really cool. And then we get the Nolan Trilogy,
Which is
Batfleck,
actually
and,
really cool.
Yeah, and now we have Robert Pattinson. But I mean, it definitely, these movies were a moment in time that you could say is history.
You think I'll ever go back to being campy
No.
at one point?
No. I think people have decided that they like their Batman Dark.
Yeah.
This is what they want.
This is what they want. You know.
Maybe I should write an angry letter.
The
My
problem
kid
is
does
that-
not.
Is that the
my
people
kid was
aren't
scared.
gonna. You know, the people need to realize you're never gonna have a Nolan Batman ever again, and I feel like that's where people start when they start naming off their Batmans. It's always Christian Bale, Michael Keaton. Like, it's never like that's their
Right.
With me, George Clooney.
For me, it's always
Christian
it's
Bale,
always
Michael
been
Keaton.
and everybody wants Batman to be this or that. But I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy did, it's a high standard because it came right after this movie. Not that it was an easy feat
Well,
to follow.
it
this,
took
but
what was it, 10 years, 12 years
Yeah.
for a new Batman movie to come out, which is a long turnaround for.
That's a long time. That's a long. So many directors, so many movies they try to get made. Even movies that were like a week or two from production with Batman in them, they just canceled and said, "Okay, we're not going to do it." The Nolan movies came out at a great time period, and they set up a 3-trilogy arc or 3-story arc. They grounded the characters, made them not a joke, realistic, and a lot of people that normally wouldn't like Batman now love the character.
Right.
So
are you saying because of this Batman, now we have this awesome Batman that we have now?
I would say Batman and Robin was necessary for the evolution of the character on
There you
screen
go, man.
in cinema.
I would agree with that.
And this is why I love Batman and Robin.
And I guess we redeemed it in a sense. Essentially, this movie is still terrible. It's bad. Campy should be fun, but not if they keep doing the same things for 2 hours to the point where I have to stop the movie and go, I need a fucking brain break. And then restart it.
With ice puns throughout the entire movie.
The ice punch.
All right, everybody chill.
Everybody chill. Batman's the world's greatest detective. Couldn't fucking figure out this guy's living in an ice cream factory? This dude that's talking about ice 24/7? You have this giant Frosty the Snowman statue outside of an ice cream place. And Batman doesn't go, I wonder if he's hiding out there. I'm too busy arguing with my 17-year-old ward about who's going to bang Poison Ivy.
Plastic lips. Huh?
Plastic
Plastic lips stop everything. I guess that'll do it for this episode.
Yeah. You got any thoughts? It is we did bring you on for. You got any last thoughts on this?
Just rewatch this movie. Have fun. Don't judge it anymore. Just have fun. We redeemed it practically. Because of this Batman, we have the Batman today. Just have fun with it. And for my cult followers, that's you, Kayla. You know what that means, all right?
Oh no, Kayla's. I guess you could close us out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode of FLOPBUSTERS. I want to give you guys thanks for watching. Thank you to our guest here, Adrian. And for me and Tony, thanks for watching. Have a good night.